Good evening. I hear the cold weather's coming. Depending on which one of the states you're in, it's already in. I'm sorry?
Storms.
Oh, yes, but that's just, maybe we get some snow.
That's for Christmas.
Well, Christmas is good. No, Chiquita doesn't want any snow. We rarely get it when we want it, so we'll let it. Call the work session for December 13th, 2018. Just go over the agenda real quick. There was an item. There was an item that we were talking about. There was an item that we were talking about to add to the agenda.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, your microphone is not on. It's turned off. It's off.
It doesn't have a number though. I don't think there was a resolution done. Was there?
Yes. 2022-06.
I was 20,
22-06.
2206. I thought you were going to make a guess.
I'm sorry, 07.
I'll set it.
07.
And it's in relation to performance bonuses of $1,000 per employee, $500 if you're part-time, and $250 if you're a bailiff. Do I hear a motion to add it to the agenda? Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Ms. Dean?
Aye.
Ms. Knight?
Aye.
Ms. Qua?
Aye.
And Ms. Tran?
And could I get a calculation of how much it would cost the city?
Yeah, we'll talk about it when we have calculation. All right, the November 22nd regular meeting minutes and the regular work session minutes have been provided for you. Any issues?
Yes. As always, the main motion is not properly described in the meeting minutes draft. I'm giving one example. The motion was Council Chair make an amendment motion to add the following verbatim language to the meeting minutes on November the 8th. Council Chair stated that she will not notify what are item 1, 2, 3 to vote during the executive meeting. But the recording in the meeting draft say Council Chair make an amend motion. But what was the purpose of that amend motion? It not being recorded. It's not reflected. And there were 5 amend motions were made, and every single of them were recorded the same way. It's all say Council Chair make an amend motion to add the verbatim language to the meeting minutes. But what is the content that needed to add that were verbally read throughout the amendment motion is not recorded. And in the past, there were times that I have asked the city manager to have the city attorney review the recording of the meeting minutes. So, city manager? Oh, yes. City manager, could you please keep me up to date on that request? Have the city attorney review the recording of the amendment motion in the meeting minute?
The city attorney has answered that several times. The city council has answered it several times. The city does not do verbatim minutes. We don't anticipate doing verbatim minutes. Verbatim minutes are not requested and strongly discouraged by the city attorney. You know that, and so do we.
I do know that. However, this is not a recording of verbatim meeting minutes. The action, the order of the motion was spelling out and verbally spell out that this is the motion and this is how the motion is done. That's why I'm asking for the reviewing of how we record the meeting minute, because the main motion doesn't properly describe it. It is completely different with asking to have the meeting minutes recorded verbatimly. The main motion is treated differently.
Any other questions related to minutes?
The second main motion, the five main motion wasn't described correctly. And then also, I also have a concern about the recording of the work session for the meeting on November the November the 20. November the 28th. That this council have an hour-long discussion about the changing policy on Facebook, but the meeting minutes came out very briefly. It only say the city manager presented the changing on the city policy, the city Facebook policy. And I have sent a note to the city manager, along with the entire council, the note of what were missing during that, missing report reflecting that discussion. The first thing is that Council Ron tried to clarify the information he was provided in the meeting with the city manager and Council Dean before the council meeting regarding certain now comments function on city Facebook. Another highlight in that during that discussion was that council and I talked about the benefit of the new policy and the moderator's function in the new policy is not recorded either. And also, Council Tran also stated that she had been asking for the Exhibit 8 for the Resolution 05 because it wasn't provided in the agenda package. A hard copy of the exhibit was given to Council Tran at 18 minutes after the meeting started. Council Tran also emphasized the means of interaction, meaning that the comment on the city Facebook should not be taken away. She also concerned that the act of city blocking Facebook user. She also raised the concern that common function on city Facebook have been blocked before the resolution was passed. She also stated that the council should not interfere with the freedom of speech. She also asked the city manager for the administrative access to the city's Facebook, and the city manager said he was going to email the information to her. She then asked if the mayor or any council member had the access to the city Facebook. So though information that, didn't happen during the discussion, and none of that will reflect in the meeting minute. So
Any other
I'm
questions?
asking,
God, Board of Chair, you're welcome to speak. The question remains with the chair.
well, even that we are having a discussion here.
And it'll go through me. Are you done?
Okay.
Any other questions related to the minutes? Hearing none. Presentations. So we have presentations from the police department. We have Lieutenant Skelton, which I showed at the beginning, for a 10-year service. Officer Kirby, Humanitarian Service Award. Sergeant Rodriguez will be promoted to sergeant, and Officer Paskey will be promoted, Rodriguez will be promoted to lieutenant, and the other one will be promoted to sergeant. So that'll be fun, and that's, growing your own is the best way to say it. So the people that we have here, they're doing good work, and, I think we're very pleased with what we have. All right, item of new business is basically the city manager's recommendation for 2023 workers' compensation insurance to the renewal of $114.81, and they're authorizing the mayor to execute any agreement or other related documents.
This is a renewal, good evening, Mayor and Council, citizens and other employees. This is a recommendation for the 2023 renewal of the workers' compensation insurance and the firefighters' cancer policy. This is a recommendation for Bidco. There were several different vendors that came in on this one. Bidco is our current vendor. They're up about 6.4%, but their closest comparable quote was $7,410 higher than our current provider. We've had no issues with that. The cancer policy is through Chubb, which is a standard for the state of Georgia for the firefighters, and that's just an automatic renewal for $6,244 for the firefighters.
Questions? Ms. Smith? Ms. Turner?
No question.
Mr. Clark?
No question.
Ms. Stevens?
I don't have a question about this, but I do have a question, maybe Chief, as far as, any updates on safety as far as equipment and stuff like that, to protect the firefighters? I heard something, and I can't remember, maybe, is there something new that's coming down the pipe?
I can't recall anything new or anything like that.
Okay.
We can't recall anything new or anything like that. Y'all approved new hoods for the hoods, the particular blocking hoods that block the carcinogens and stuff. We just got those in this budget year. That may be what you're referring to. I can't think of anything else.
It might have been that firefighter grant, the one we got turned down for.
Was it for
I think
safety?
There was personnel.
Yeah, that was personnel.
That was personnel.
Something about safety,
Item 2, approval of city manager's recommendation to accept the bid from Jeffers Architect for district amphitheater design totaling $12,500, and to authorize the mayor to execute any agreement and other related documents. Mr. Baker.
This is a recommendation for the design professional services we discussed previously about the district rebuild. This would also be for the grant that we voted on for the amphitheater. Jefferson, you can look through the bid package here, the different things they've done in the area, including Truett down in Fayetteville, just off of Fayetteville Square, next to where the new Fayetteville City Hall is. They did not do the City Hall, but they did the bus barn next to it. They did another development using the old Fayetteville High School gymnasium, turning into a event hall. They're well known in the area. They do a lot of work with different churches and communities close to us. But there's no one who actually answered the bid, which is just fine. But they have a $12,500 retainer. So I just want to present that to you all because we know retainers are retainers. So the service fees and everything else are in here as far as very much in line with what the market standard is. But on that, they break that down in our financial package as well. So I would recommend we go with them as our design build team in the district and indeed for the amphitheater.
Questions? Ms. Knight?
Not currently.
Okay.
I'll defer the floor.
Ms. Turner?
The bid announcement, where do we advertise it?
On the website, on the newspaper, and on bid.
What website do we use?
What website?
Yes.
The cityoflamar.gov and cityoflamar.com. Also, both have a link to BidNet,
Okay, thank you.
which takes them to a homepage, which shows them exactly what our previous bids and our current bid are.
And what were the opening, how long did the bid were advertised for?
Roughly 2 weeks.
2 weeks, thank you. And who is the purchasing procurement officer for this project?
They're all to the city manager's office.
Thank you. And has the city attorney reviewed the bid notification?
No, ma'am.
And have the city attorney review the bids coming in? Thank you. And if this item is in the budget?
This will be drawn from our insurance payments for the
Insurance.
firehouse.
Okay. Thank you. And I'll give the floor to the next person. I have one more question, but I have to look at the reference.
Mr. Quah.
Yeah, can you tell me a little detail about that, the budget we were going to, what will we clarify, what will we accept for that amount of money?
I'm sorry, you want the budget for?
The amount of money we try to approve for tonight, can you tell me a little bit of detail, what do we get done out of that budget?
Oh, for the 12,500, it begins the design phase of some of the things you guys have seen, the pictures and the renderings of the brewery, the standalone.
Mhm.
To rebuild those 3 buildings, it is very specific in our insurance recompensation and compensation that they're gonna give us for that we have to pay profit off of an insurance policy. So we have to build back on that at least to that degree. So if they give us $1 million for where the Napier House was and we only spend 900,000, we forfeit 100,000. If we go above it, then we incur that. So as far as the 12,500, what that's going to give us, it lays it out pretty much what they do. They do the design. They'll do a rendering for us, a design for those different ideas that we have in that area, and then they'll also all the way up to the MEP, going through the permitting and everything else with us, and construction design plans. So they do the whole package. 12,500 is not going to cover all that, but it is the it's a start. Yeah, it's just a start. I mean, that's a retainer, and then as we get into it, you know how we piece that out, building by building, it will be a separate fee for those.
Not too long ago, we received a grant from the county, and
Correct, yeah.
we match up with that, so where are we at spending those?
None, but this can be part of this, and that's why it's important that we divide this up per project. Because for the grant project, that's a $295,000 with $100,000 match. That means whatever design, build, expenses come out of that will need to be segregated out for that project, as well as each building, because that's how we'll get our compensation from the insurance company and from our grant. So we'll be pulling from different funding resources, but they'll all be divided out per building.
So we haven't done anything with that amount of money?
No, sir, no.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Steen.
Follow up on that, the company, Jeffers Architect,
It's Jefferson Brown, actually.
they, as soon as the council vote on it, they're ready to get started, ready to go.
Yes, they are.
The other project, isn't there a deadline on that?
Oh, for the amphitheater, for sure, there's gonna be a prioritization of how we do it. And, I want to tell this to the architects and designers, but which one's more important than the other, we need them all done quickly. We were contingent upon insurance on one, and on a time restraint on the part of the amphitheater itself. So that has to be done by the end of December of next year.
So we need to get someone
That's what I wanted to know.
in-house, ready to work, as soon as possible.
Correct, yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about what they did down in Fayetteville and what that brings to this project.
Oh, they have I think a lot of people in here have seen, that we've shown some of the renderings of what the brewery would be like. They've done a lot of, it's just remarkable how they do. They have a lot of small buildings, but they turn it loose on something like this. They do a lot of glass. They incorporated space well, and they design it based on what the community wants. So you get community input, we get input from our elected officials, we get to look at this and see, and that's where they start their design process. So the amphitheater, they've thrown in some pictures and some renderings of some amphitheaters they have done. But you'll see a lot of open glass, a lot of shared common space, and you'll see a lot of different variations that you can be flexible with as far as retail and as far as other restaurants and things to put in that area.
Mayor, I would like to make a comment. So with the amphitheater, and I appreciate Councilman Vaughn bringing the grant up and you explaining the timeline for the use of the funds. What I do want us to kind of talk about very briefly is what we already know about the space that is being viewed as the amphitheater. There have already been some studies done to that area, so just kind of same pages so that we all understand what are we envisioning as the amphitheater, because there are constraints to that
Sure.
land over there.
You only have 400,000, so not huge. It's gonna be more of a community type deal. It's not gonna compete with the stadium or the event space or anything else we've got going on in that area. It's more for a community event, such as when we do all of our events out there for the city. So it's gonna be a place for people to gather. You can do some small concerts. Our food trucks could move to that location as well as the LCI and be interchangeable. It would be a smaller functioning area. That is, you see the streams out there in the beaver dams. I'm sure the beavers are all relocated to better places. But once that's cleared out, we did some of the geotechnical, a lot of loam, a lot of things down in there that have to dry out. So we have to get rid of the beaver dams to dry that out naturally. The main thing for me is to get I believe, and I think it will be for these guys as well, is to get the boardwalk back up where it should be, to kind of stabilize that back area of the district shops there. Plus it opens it up for them to do the retail deal. We're gonna have a meeting tomorrow where the leases will be signed. Hopefully. That is one of the things that is a concern for that boardwalk to be open back up, which then can lead down into the amphitheater, which will probably be kind of parallel to where the bridge is and back, in a bowl, kind of a semi-bowl shape, where you're gonna have to have a stage in there at some point. So I can't give you any more than that.
A lot of grass.
Yeah, and
A lot of grass.
I think it's just good for us as we're kind of coming to terms and understanding of what we're talking about the final product will be.
I don't think you're envisioning
Yeah.
something that's like concrete seating and things
Right.
like that.
We're not
Grass,
envisioning
grass,
concrete
grass.
seats and overhangs and,
Right.
stage. It's more of a shape in a public space.
Right.
um,
I see a
Then,
raised stage,
right.
not something that's overly heavy or something that's concrete,
Right.
something that's probably gonna be able to be more suitable for that location, so. But, just, I'm not an architect, so. I'm sure they'll give us some better design and renderings and ideas of what they can do in that location.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I have my last question, if I may. So on page 21 of the package, it say the gray popicin, and I'm seeing in the very bottom of that page, it say run days for December 14th. Is that the day we advertise the job?
I'm looking at page 21 of the.
I have it on my computer here, so you don't have to pull it. If you could help me to understand this. There we go. It's showing the 14 here. Is that the day? It's page 21 on the package, the PDF page. When you count to page 21.
Page 21 is apparently different.
I think it's closer to the front before the Jefferson packet.
Let me see.
Yes, before the Jefferson packet. There it is.
Okay, what's your question?
I'm seeing the bottom of the page, it say run days, it say, in two lines, say December 14, 12/14. Is that the date, is that indicated the day we advertise the job?
That is for the publishing in the paper, right? 14 days, is that when it ended? Or?
That would be an end date.
I imagine it's an
It just
end date.
say run
Last couple of
day.
days.
Since we closed it out on the 12th, that would be my.
Yeah.
So it means we only advertise this job opportunity in one day, December 14. Is that correct?
That is incorrect. That would be after it was closed. So, no.
So
If
then.
you look up at the top of there, one section up above that,
Mhm.
where it says created, PO number, Victor Aguilar, 12/6/22 at 16:30, 13 hours.
Mhm.
So that's where it was created.
But where
So I would
is,
assume, based off of this, I don't know how they do the billing, that it ended. They billed us from the 6th to the 14th.
Oh, so it's run from December
It's the
6th?
number of shows, yes. It's how many runs. The paper runs every Wednesday.
So the advertising started on December the 6th and ended on December 14th? Is that how I should read this paper?
That's what it looks like to me, yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And when you're talking about this, spending would be paid by insurance, so the project is required to go through the procurement when it hit the other procurement requirement, even the insurance pay for the project.
That's
Is that
anything
correct?
over to state law, yes, we do.
Regardless if the insurance paid for it or not.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? And then item 3, approval of the city manager's recommendation to accept the bid from RM Construction for event space floor ceiling and epoxy totaling $172,000, and to authorize the mayor to execute any agreement and other related documents. Mr. Baker.
This is a continuation and completion of the project that was started before, I'm not sure when the inception date of the last one, but they cleaned out all of the different things on the 3 and 4 and blue. This would be so we can complete this and have it available and finished by Lunar New Year and some of the events that are going on after that. That are weather kind of dependent, but this would be the entirety of the upper level space up there, 56,000 square feet, I believe. So basically, there's 2 quotes on here. One is for eyeglass polyurethane. One is for a top coat of polyurethane of 172. So that's a more muted color, and we've opted to go with a more muted color of 172. So that's the actual requested price on that.
Comment.
Just recommending contract on that's our construction.
Comments? Ms. Knapp?
No comments.
Ms. Train?
So last year, we spent $94,000 to do resurfacing the floor. What is that different with the spending now for the same
The
location?
previous amount was to sand the imperfections out of the floor to prepare floor coating and to get the glue off of it, the construction residue and everything else from the top, from my understanding. So that was completed, and this is to actually seal and coat the floor.
Why do you seal and coat the floor?
Protects the actual concrete from staining. It gives you a better look and cleaning ability for the event hall. It keeps the dust down and protects the concrete.
Other questions? Mr. Quah?
I still have a few more questions, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
And where will this job advertise? Are we advertise on the newspaper and the two city website and the BitNet?
The city website takes you to the bid, yes ma'am.
Okay. And how long did we advertise this job for?
For roughly 2 weeks.
Thank you. And who is the purchasing and procurement officer for this project?
That would be the city manager.
Okay. And have the city review the bids?
Have the city review?
I'm sorry, have the city attorney review the bids?
She has not reviewed the bid, nor has she reviewed the application.
Thank you. And is this item in the budget?
This is going to be taken from the SPOS budget under building improvements.
Oh, I see that. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
SPOS
Okay.
2014.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you done?
I'm done. Thanks.
Mr. Quah?
So this just to get the amount of money to get the floor sealed, right?
Yes, sir. Everything on the top floor, is when you walk in that dark space, it can be completely sealed, all the way from the mall entrance to the front of the parking lot there.
Okay. 56.
I think it's 56,000, 53 or 56,000.
400, so roughly about $2 per square foot.
Yes, sir. It's pretty good. I mean, this is one of the bids that came in. The reason we chose this one is because it's on time.
It's way more expensive than pre-COVID, so that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I think the last one was about, it was a lot cheaper just to clean it, but all they were doing was buffing out, cleaning it out, and get all the stuff off of it.
All right. That's all I have.
Ms. Dean?
I don't have any questions regarding that, but I would like to, if you don't, maybe Brandon,
Oh, Brent.
For that epoxy, I know that there are conditions and things like that for the drying time. A week,
Usually 7 to 10 days.
7 to 10 days?
That'll be hard enough for we'll be able to get in there and play on.
Okay. That's all?
Item number 4, approval of city manager's recommendation to accept the bid, RM Construction, for the construction and remodeling of the Morrow Tourist Center. Long time in coming, totaling $485,575, and to authorize the mayor to execute any agreement and other related documents. Comments, Ms. Knight?
I'll defer the floor.
Ms. Tran?
So this job, I assume that is advertised the same way in the same means. And how long is the advertising for?
Well, if you count them all up, it's been about 2 months, but on the last bid, it was about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yes.
Thank
We had
you.
Some stopping goes on some of the other ones, but on the not the correct open days and some other things. So corrected on the last one, advertised in the same manner as the other one, and the city attorney did not review that or the bids.
Okay, thank you for that heads up.
It should be noted that the city attorney is not required to look at that. That's an internal management decision. It's not a legal document.
It is a legal document because when you granted the job to the bidder have legal obligation to us to do certain things for us to withdraw payment from the public fund. So it's still, procurement is a complicated process, and many cities have procurement department itself. That's how complicated it is. I think Black City have it. Not quite sure about transfer than the other, but smaller city, the same size as us, also have a designated person to do just procurement only.
Try not to be
So,
confused with a bid and a contract, please. It's a bid, that's it. The contract is what you're authorizing us to sign.
And also, yeah, but the contract is not provided in any of this package. So how do we know what we authorizing for when we don't see the thing that what we approving to authorize? Is this project in the budget?
It is coming out of the SPOS 2014.
Okay.
The building improvements.
And could I get an update on the slot 14 after the meeting? I know that you don't have it in front of you
I think
now.
after the next item, it's pretty much going to be used. Would that be fair?
I'm sorry?
After the next item, with the bathrooms, at that point, I think Splash 2014 is pretty much gone.
Okay.
Other questions? Mr. Quah?
So do we have, I understand that we're trying to invest, almost $500,000 for this, restaurant, this place. Are we gonna have a lease program, a lease gonna potentially going to sign, appropriate, a lease that will be compatible with the amount of money we're investing?
Yeah, definitely. On our lease, it'll be typical of the lease that they've set up for the DDA and URA, which is a set amount per month, or it's based on a sales percentage. It's typical for a lot of them. So also based on alcohol sales, as I understand, if the individual wishes to get an alcohol license as well. So yes, hopefully it will be. I don't know payback time on that, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about alcohol license or, alcohol tax, alcohol license, I mean, everybody required to pay that, regardless of city building or not. I'm more concerned about the city spending $500,000 on a project and then, we don't know when we're gonna make it back. I mean, I don't believe any of us would do that kind of investment. I'm a restaurant owner. I do more than 10 restaurants within the last 12 years. All the landlord that giving us, building us anything, and it's gonna be somewhere building it to the lease. So you gotta be able to pay that amount of money that they invest to the building long before the lease ends, so they still can try to make money out of it. So I mean, we as a city, we spend public money, so we probably think can be easier than a typical landlord. But I like to see that, I mean, how much we're gonna lease and what we're looking, when we're looking, how long we're looking to recoup the $500,000 we're gonna invest into it. I understand that we are trying to put it in so the original idea we're trying to put it in so, you know, if this particular person, you know, going out of business, we can release it in another one. But that doesn't work to most of the case because different type of restaurant require different layout, different equipment, different kind of way. And originally we're gonna only invest some basic like a hood and a restrap. That way so anybody can go in there and build their own, but it's investing $500,000 to this thing, we better have a good lease program to try to recoup the money back. Thank you.
Ms. Dean?
On the materials list,
Yes, ma'am.
this is just a preliminary ask, is that correct?
It is the estimation based on what the project details on the design plans. So current prices, I guess it's current prices. Yes,
Or
ma'am.
this is what we're gonna pay for these particular materials?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Based on current power and division taxes.
Okay.
Hopefully that will be done. And we're still up, so the longer we wait, the more we pay.
Other questions?
Ms. Dean, are you done? Are you done with
She
your
is.
question? Okay.
What?
So how big is that, the building?
The building itself, I don't think I have square footage in here.
Roughly about 3,500.
I think I don't know for sure the exact square footage. Very close to that.
3,000, thank you. And I hear about the lease program that we going to do the percentage rent. So what is the minimum guarantee rent?
We haven't worked out the lease on that yet. So once we sit down and do the lease, I will bring that into, and share that with you. I don't have that right now, but that goes to the URA and DDA for their approval. But it's based on basically square footage and what we anticipate drawing back from. So there's a lot of variables to go into it, but I haven't looked at that lease or formulated that plan yet.
Thank you. And if we spend in public resource, when you have an exceptional event to where we're spending more than $500,000, tonight we about making the decision to spend $485,575. And last year, we already spent $25,000 on the design job. That took this project in total, besides the building itself, what we already paid for the building itself, we are putting more than $500,000 into place. I would think this would be fair to public to advertise this job opportunity to public, because at the end of the day, we using public fund and the public should be treated equal. And one thing to say that we have to be careful with the way we build the lease program, because of course the government, we're not a private section to be here to make money, but to recoup more than $500,000 that we're about to spend is important. So
Point of information, Ms. Tran, is you actually have a bid in front of you. It's not a guess, it's an actual bid. That is what it's gonna cost. above $100,000 according to Georgia law, that's your public works construction section, that's your bid notice. It has been properly bid. This project has been going on for a long time, and during that time period, costs have actually went up.
Mr. Mayor, you misunderstood the bid that I'm referring to. I'm talking about the restaurant, the tenant who are going to move in. I'm suggesting at the time we're doing that, we should be open the opportunity to lease, to rent the place to public equally. Because we're not spending $10,000, we spend more than $500,000. It's different with the bid that you just talked about, because yes, the bid will provide, the bid have been happened, but also the thing is that accept the item one, the engineer, the design, the architect bid. The rest of the epoxy the floor, the build out tourist center restaurant, the bathroom build out in the dark space appear to have two bidders came in, but the council only provided one bidder's information and the bidder package. Where is the rest?
City clerk will provide it if needed.
Yes, in the future, please provide all those information to us so we can evaluate the information. Thank you.
Last item, or not last item, but number 5, approve the city manager's recommendation to accept the bid from PDP Restoration totaling $470,000 for the construction of permanent restroom facilities at the Morrow Event Dark Space, and to authorize the mayor to execute any agreement. That money would also finalize the SPLOST 2014. Just as a point of information, SPLOST 2014 money has been sitting in our bank for a reasonable period of time. The idea is, the citizens themselves kind of expect that you build projects, not sit in the bank. This isn't general fund money. These were things we were either promised or told people we would do, whether they were projects that started before us or not. Comments, Ms. Knight?
I think this is a pivotal part of us actually bringing the dark space online. So with the Morrow Center being what it is as an event space and the dark space in conjunction with that, we know that we have to work on the dark space. We know that if it's going to be for public events, for public use, private events, whatever the case may be, we know that there have to be bathrooms. We know that the floors have to be finished. We know that we have to bring the property online. So I think this is going to be a good step forward so we can finally get the dark space moving forward. And also with the fact that we know that there's a lot of smaller event space in the city, but we're looking at the school board bringing their property online, within the next couple of years. It's not to say that they will be able to, it's not to say that our market is going to be different than what the school board is going to be able to offer. But we do have to make sure that that space is finished and is ready to go.
And to your point, we're going to get away from the dark space, we're about the event space, but it'll have connectivity to the conference center, which is a grade A conference center. And then it gives them the opportunity to go ahead and lease that out as far as for vendors. And that's where everybody's been to Savannah or conference knows you do the comp classes, and then you have the vendor section, they get more from the vendors than for leasing the square footage in there than you get for the actual conference fees itself. So I think that will be a robust business model for the Morrow Conference Center, as well as an independent kind of opportunity for us to generate some revenue for the city based off of individual rentals on the property, and hopefully lock in some of the recurring due month and then be able to offset some of the expenses on this, which with the business plans you see, we could potentially see where we could pay that off in a short period of time for the investments that we've made.
Ms. Tran?
Yeah, so how long did this job advertise? Because I'm reading the way.
Yes, on these, Mr. Tran, I'll do 2 weeks on that. I'm the procurement manager. We did not put this in front of the city attorney for either the bid or the recipient of the bid, and 2 2 weeks on the job. I was trying to get you any questions here.
The fund. I'm looking at page 88, where you just help me to understand how to read the advertisement bill. So it say created on December the 6th, and then the run time is ended on December the 14th. So it appears to be less than 2 weeks. Is this the project that we put out for less than 2 weeks?
I'm not clear on which question. This is for the dark space restrooms. It's listed on the order confirmation from 12/6 to 12/14,
12/6 to 12/14.
according to this invoice. Yes.
So it's less than 2 weeks.
According to the invoices from the 6th to the 14th, yes.
Thank you. And the city manager is also the procurement officer?
Admitted today, yes.
Thank you. And do you have the total cost of the Dark Space project? Because we have been spending hundreds of thousands for tonight. We are looking at spending $343,000 to build a bathroom. So how much is the total cost for to invest in this place so we can put it in use?
I don't know the total cost for you. There's a number of different projects that have run for a couple of years to do different things, but I can try and summate that for you.
Yeah, please do share the information with me because I have no information about this. Thank you.
Mr. Quah.
So, tell me a little detail about the project.
This is going to be, if you look on the MEP, is actually attached here. You see the layout. It's going to include a family bathroom. It's going to include a women's bathroom. It's going to include a male bathroom, and it's also going to include by code requirements, so lactation area for nursing mothers. So you got all of this, including the water fountain that's required by that as well. So the numbers are what was required by the code for that upper space.
How many units in each?
You can ask me how many total.
It was what, maybe 12 stalls? Yeah, about
16. And then in the men's room, you have some urinals as well. And then you have a family bathroom, which is a set aside for, it's an enclosed separate bathroom facility. It's required by code as well.
Are we going to do away with the escalator? What we gonna do with it?
Yes, right now we're just simply going to.
Yeah, not currently on this one, but the escalators to take those out or to fill them in, kind of is gonna be, we've got a couple options and some folks we're talking to for the downstairs area. I think it's gonna be contingent upon what direction we move with that, to see how that plays into what's upstairs, or if we need to seal that off completely.
So talking about putting that place to work, HVAC, where are we at on that, and what we are planning to do to that?
The HVAC is not in this plant currently. There is an air return system that's in there that will circulate air. So in the intermittent times, it ought to be fairly comfortable. And the next thing we'll have to look at, of course, is how we're going to do the HVAC, which is, again, the reason we're not moving ahead with that is contingent upon what you do. You're going to have a master control on that as far as upstairs, downstairs, and the feeder system that works directly with both floors. If it's separate by a different tenant, then we want to do something where we can separate that out. And what they're going to put downstairs is going to be one white box. Is going to be a bunch of different smaller areas. So we're kind of waiting to see where we move with that before we determine on the HVAC.
Is KNG still interested to move in?
They actually re-signed their lease in their current building. So,
That would have been nice.
Right.
well, we do have two other options that I'm not really at liberty to discuss. We talked to one of them today, one of them last week. Some pretty interesting and exciting things. So there's a lot of interest in that. Everything in the mall is pretty much full. So that's an opportunity for someone to come in and either use the entire big box if we can get someone interested in about 43,000 square feet, or individually, not dispersing it, but keeping a common area with different shops and kind of an international platform, if you will.
We can partnership with the mall, maybe, we can lease it to them so they can sublease to the tenant.
I would certainly hope so. We can actually earn our camp fee, so, but yeah, that would be where we'd open that up to the
That's
mall
an option.
area. Yeah, we definitely want to, and we're actually talking to the mall ownership too, so. they're interested in getting it leased as well. So there's a move in that direction, but I think would benefit the city as a whole and the mall particularly. And with that conference center moving, or the stadium moving in with the school board, I really think this is going to be a great opportunity to get that mall going and to get our areas going where it's going to generate a lot of interest.
What is our plan for the restroom to use for the Luna event?
Hoping this one. If we get this done tonight, then I have assurances by this guy was very engaged, and he's already done the inventory
Less than a
runs for
month to work with.
It's according to him, it's possible. I mean, we have to knock on wood and pray, but he's checked the inventory availability for all the consignments for these things and all of the layouts as far as all the accurates and everything else that goes into these, and the appointments in the bathrooms. Everything that's on there is available. It's just gonna be a matter of ordering it and hoping he gets it. So.
Let's hope we have a backup plan for that.
Not really. Oh, we got a backup plan, but I don't know. It won't be a bad backup plan, but it won't be inside.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Dean?
Yes, sir. We have a lot of projects that are in the works, that have been in the works for years. For me, it's moving very slow. For our new council members, it's moving fast. That's only because you just got on board. But for me, it's moving slow, and I know for the public, it's moving even that much slower. The city has waited so long to have new projects come on board. This is the time for us as a council to get behind these projects, work with our city manager, work with our mayor, work with our department heads, those that are putting in the work to help us so that we can make these decisions. And if we're not trying to do our part, all of the work that they're doing is for naught. So I think as a council, I'm saying we should get behind the city manager, the mayor, and our department heads and move these projects because our city, our residents deserve it.
Advice is really appreciated. Thank you.
I have last question. Have the license been checked for all the bidders that we've in the proposed tonight? The qualification according to the law?
They do have all license, and they will be in the packets and everything else as we secure the contracts with those, yes.
In the future, we should be asking that through the bid because if we chose them and they're not qualified, then we have to open the bid again. So,
If
just
you
saying,
read the
thank you.
description on there, and the RFPs and the RFQs, they are on there, requiring you to do that.
Okay. Thanks.
And Ms. Dean, I hope we do move fast. I thought you were calling me slow for a minute, but I won't try.
We almost have a regular section of the council meeting. I'll leave the work session with a thought. We have convinced our peers to invest a significant amount of money in this city, $85 million. That is a tremendous amount of money. We have convinced the private sector with Dr. Kim's facility, 37,000 feet of a laser eye center right across from Costco, even before the out parcels are put in place. Costco is underway on an expansion. Walmart is underway on an expansion. Macy's is underway on a renovation. We have more existing space filled than any time in recent memory. The people we're pulling in next have to do total ground-up construction. There is no building there. They have to take it from an idea to something, and they have to make those numbers work to make an investment here. So as our projects or the existing projects that we have worked on start to come online, it gives not only just the theory that just because you say so, they have to see it, right? You know, politicians talk. Most of the time, nobody believes a word we say, you know. But they know it when they see it. They see the crane out there. They know the project got paid for. And as taxpayers and ultimately voters in your SPLOST programs, in 2014, you know, we all collectively in this whole county said we were going to get some things done. We're still sitting on some of that money, and we're going to finalize that tonight. You have a new set in 2021 that's going to allow us to deal with some things at Reynolds, some long promised projects that just are in an idea form, even though you own a piece of property. Look for us to come hard with that. So everybody play ball. The private sector is watching, and they're not saying no anymore. They just want to make sure before they invest their money, are you serious? And we couldn't be more serious. So,
Mr. Mayor, before you break on it, we have item H there, which is the second reading.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So,
yes, and that's the second reading of the alcohol license. Any questions on that, Ms. May?
No question.
Ms. Dean? Mr. Quah? Ms. Tran?
I saw the section of the nail salon and hair. Could you explain the purpose of that change?
it is the same, what we discussed last time. This is for, let me see, what are you talking about on the second page here, number 4?
Yes.
So hair and nail salons operating entirely under a single City of Lamar occupation tax certificate, having a minimum of 25 salon chairs for the service of customers. Salon suite operations and salons that use the services of independent contractors are not eligible to apply. Hair and or nail salon applicants granted license shall limit to the serving patrons who are 21 years of age or older, complimentary malt beverages and wine. So that is basically covering someone who has a larger established, not rented out to individuals salon that would allow them to do what a lot of salons do in our surrounding areas in Atlanta and really treat the ladies nice, I guess. Maybe give them some free
You
wine.
can get your hair done in a glass of wine. Try not to drink the whole bottle of wine, and the hair won't matter when you're done. But you'll have a good time. The coffee's still good, I hope, and we'll see y'all shortly.